to run off with the money.
Whose money is it?
I mean,
That's what I don't. I think that's the question.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not it's Argentina's.
Well, Dave, I'm very happy that you actually asked that question because I believe that I have the answer, and it's actually quite simple. It's the same people that you've been farming since the moment that you've entered the space. Now, what's going on in this entire Libra situation, and if you are uninformed on what has happened in the past few days in the meme coin space, I'm glad that you are watching this video because there has been quite a few developments. Let's actually start at the very beginning. If you guys didn't know this, on Friday, Valentine's Day, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, he released a tweet that basically said something along the lines of, people want to invest in Argentina, and this is how you can do it. This is the Libra token, here's the contract address, and this is going to stimulate the Argentinian economy. Now, I would go back and just show you the tweet that Javier Milei posted himself if it weren't for the fact that about 24 hours after it was posted, he deleted it and basically removed any and all responsibility that he had in this token's launch. And in my opinion, this really wasn't his fault. And for those of you who haven't actually seen what the chart looks like on this token, as you can see, it didn't perform very well, and it is actually probably one of the biggest scams and scandals that has happened in crypto since the FTX collapse. And now you might be wondering what the hell happened. I mean, things looked like they were going well at first, and then, a big collapse happened. What really went on behind the scenes of this Libra token? And honestly, for the past few days, that is what I have been deeply trying to understand. Now, if I wanted to make a short video about this, all I would do is just tell you to look at the top traders, and you can clearly start to put together a pretty simple picture as to what went on here, especially when you start really scrolling down this list, okay? But for those of you who aren't really that clued in on blockchain and you don't really know what's going on with this situation, I am going to try and break this all down as simply as I can for you guys. Now, fortunately for us, because everything that you do on a blockchain is public information that is stored on a public ledger, we are actually able to get a really clear understanding of what went on here by simply just doing a little bit of digging on chain. And unfortunately for scammers and bad actors like Hayden Davis and Dave Portnoy, we are actually very easily to tell exactly what they are doing, and they can't hide from these situations. But before we go any further, I do want to shout out a lot of the people in my online communities who have spent their time to actually do some digging on chain and actually try and track a lot of the stuff that has happened here. And also shout out to the rest of the people in the greater Solana ecosystem who have also been doing the same. I truly can't put into words how disgusted I am by the actions of some of the people in this ecosystem, and especially on a day like Valentine's Day where, you're supposed to be celebrating your loved ones and not spending your time being a complete scumbag online like some people have opted to do. And honestly, I do want to also point out that this is not Solana's fault. For those of you who are, writing off blockchain now because of this incident, this is unfortunately the result of decentralization and permissionless networks. And more so, the problem with crypto is and will continue to be the bad actors that, try to exploit people on these networks. And I won't ramble too much on this, but this is literally why I've made a YouTube channel and want to give people good information about how to navigate in these markets because, again, the bad actors in this space are the real problem with this space. It is not the technology, and unfortunately, these major events have to happen for the space to improve. But all right, let's get back to actually talking about what happened with this Libra token and why it is a serious disappointment to everyone in the space. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know my thoughts on this. I am very, very disappointed, and honestly, I can see why a lot of people write off meme coins and crypto right away because they hear of things like this and they immediately assume that this is what happens every day, when in reality, it doesn't. Really, the TLDR of this video is that the problem with this entire Libra token stems from this character right here, Hayden Davis, who nobody in the crypto space had even heard of or knew about until obviously he topped the meme coin market not once, but twice, because he is also behind the Melania token, the Enron token, the Mates token, and a plenty of other rugs. And before I go any further, I just want to say that this guy genuinely thinks that everybody in this space is a moron, and he thinks that we don't see through these clear cover-up stories and his vulnerability and how it's so dangerous for him because now he's sitting on $100 million and there's so many parties involved, and he really didn't know what was going on, and he was sniping tokens because it was for the good of the space, and he was actually going to pump that money back into the quote-unquote chart. Okay, so don't believe any fucking word that this retard says, because I'm absolutely sick of hearing these lies. And sorry, but again, before we go any further, Dave Portnoy, you should be ashamed of yourself, because you know exactly what you are doing here, and you are just fucking playing people like fiddles, and it's just pathetic, honestly, for someone with your platform. Okay, but this isn't going to be just a rage fest where, I just rip on people the entire time. The real takeaway here is that the most frustrating part of all of this is that people have known about these problems now for a very long time, and there have been honest people in this space who have been trying to solve these problems for a while, and quite literally, this is why platforms like Pump Fund exist. It is to prevent these malicious teams that are run by people like Hayden, who, their entire mission when launching these tokens is to take as much money out of your pocket as possible and put it into theirs. Now, one thing I want to mention that a lot of you guys are overlooking is that, these are problems in every market. It's not specific to meme coins, right? Bernie Madoff scammed a fuck ton of people as well, right? The problem with a lot of this stuff happens from greed and the people that are actually launching these tokens and are the quote unquote insiders. The entire problem with Libra is simple. It was humans trusting humans. And that is quite literally what blockchain systems and technology tries to solve. Now, what happened with Libra is that simply the team was sniping their own tokens, which I can't even begin to put into words how insane of a theory that this even is to begin with. And the fact that this Hayden guy is actually openly admitting it is even crazier, but that's besides the point. They used their own wallets to snipe their own tokens and dump them as soon as people started buying these. And for the record, they did the exact same thing here with the Melania token as well. I mean, the result is very similar. And let's not forget this Enron token as well, same exact story. But really, the oversimplified explanation of what is happening here is that this team at Kelsier Ventures, or whatever the fuck their name is sniping their own tokens that they're launching in a quote-unquote effort to protect the consumers who are actually purchasing these tokens. And then they are just literally turning right around and dumping them on everybody's head and nuking these tokens' prices just with the sheer amount of tokens that they're dumping. But that's not even the only thing that they are doing. They are sniping their own tokens right upon launch, and they're using a portion of those snipe tokens to make a quick profit on a pump and dump. But then they are actually generating liquidity pools with the other portion of the snipe tokens that they are using, and then they are profiting even more off of the fees that are generated off of these pools. And thanks to some great on-chain detective work by this user here on Flipside Crypto, we are actually able to tell exactly the wallets that generated the pools, the exact amount of money that was extracted from these pools, and even the exact time that it took for them to do all of this. And most of this is done within an hour. And thanks to Hayden's either ignorance or just general stupidity, he told us that he also was involved in the Melania token launch, and we are able to see the exact same strategy used on the Melania token launch. I have all of these SoulScan links in this Google Sheet. If you want to see it and do your own, digging yourself, just message me on my online communities. I will gladly share you, these transactions. And now what is happening is the people like Hayden are realizing that, they are in a lot of trouble, and this is a very, very bad situation. So they are using every opportunity that they are allowed to basically go on these large platforms like CoffeeZilla's podcast and Dave Portnoy's Davey Day Trade podcast, and basically play dumb and say that they were actually doing things in the interest of investors, when in reality it is quite literally the polar opposite, and there is actual proof of that. Because now there have been leaked messages that have come out that have literally exposed Hayden by quite literally claiming that he owns Malay and that he has been sending money to his sister, and now he basically has control over everything that Malay does. And he also had another conversation that was leaked where he quite literally says, yeah, fellas, TBH, we are trying to max extract on this one. So, I mean, you can use your own context clues and to figure out what that potentially might mean.
Sniping when you're the team, I'm not saying it always should happen, but I'm saying a lot of times it's to protect and if there's enough volume, take some off so that people can have a chance to pump the chart back up. Because with meme coins, they go up and down so fast, these projects can get killed in 2 days. And the only hope is that you have enough of a treasury to go and try and beat the snipers.
this is what that type of logic actually results in when you actually put it into practice. I quite literally can't even believe what this guy is saying. I don't know if he's seriously trying to portray himself as a clueless individual, which might actually be his best kind of approach for the coming storm that I assume is going to happen to him. I mean, this is just one of the many things that were said in this quote unquote interview with CoffeeZilla, but really it's just more of an expose where this guy Hayden is basically just admitting to all of the blatant crimes that he has actually conducted over the past couple months. And I timestamped all of the things that I thought were ridiculous that he said in this actual video. And I actually have 22 different examples of things just like this that are equally as absurd. Originally, I was just going to actually go through this video and react to it and just explain all of the things that he's basically implying with all of this, but the video would simply be way too long. So I am not going to actually go through each of these timestamps, but I highly recommend that you watch this video and also the interview that he does with Dave Portnoy, where he openly admits to refunding Dave $5 million because Dave was an insider who didn't end up fucking making any money, and Hayden felt like he, deserved his money back, which is quite literally the most insane thing I've ever heard. And although it's already been almost a week since this event happened, there is still a ton of information that people are learning about this, and I am positive that more information will reveal itself over the coming weeks, months, years. Who really knows? But the bottom line is that a lot of people seriously were affected by this. I included, and I'm not one to buy rugs. I genuinely saw that tweet from Javier Milei, and I thought that they were launching a fucking token for Argentina. That is what it basically implied. The entire thing is a complete and total mess. And now this guy Hayden is just sitting on $120 million that he doesn't know what to do with. And everything that he's proposed is absolutely insane, and it makes no sense. And also, he's basically saying that a refund isn't worth his time. That's basically what has been discussed over the past 72 hours. And so what does this actually mean for the meme coin markets now? I mean, in my opinion, the meme coin markets are topped, and they have been topped since the Trump and Melania launch. And especially now that we know that the Melania token was launched by this Kelsier team, it is quite literally, it makes perfect sense now. It makes absolutely perfect sense that all of the money that was in this space is now in the hands of scammers, and they have no intention of ever doing anything on chain with it again, except for probably scamming more people. Really, the lawyers are the big winners in this Libra token, because all of that $116 million is going to go to their pockets at the end of this. That's what I truly think. But I talked about this in Telegram today, and what I really believe is that, these events are what makes the market more sophisticated. It makes everybody aware of these things, and obviously nobody wants to get rugged and give their money to scammers. So collectively as a space, I think that a lot of people got the wake-up call that I have personally been screaming at you guys since I've started this channel, right? New launches are junk. People are always going to try and take advantage of you. If you don't have an edge, you are the edge for other people, okay? So that is the bottom line, unfortunately. And what I hope happens is that people realize that there are actually very interesting projects being built on Solana, and they actually invest in those instead of fucking meme coins about celebrities and politicians who already are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars and they don't need any more of yours. My hope is that a lot of the money that is still in this space is actually going to flow into legitimate projects or funny meme coins that have been around and have built massive communities for the past year. But I truly don't know how much of our money is even left in this space at this point because of all the extraction. The really unfortunate thing is that everyone who hates crypto is going to continue using examples of this to say, why would we ever use crypto? But my rebuttal to that is, look at what happened with Bernie Madoff, okay? Like, it happens. There are bad people and there are greedy people in any market, in any situation, in any industry. There are going to be people who ruin it for everybody else, right? But the bottom line is that this is why you really need to be looking at projects with real utility, or there's a real reason to hold the tokens, right? I mean, I've been saying it since I've started this channel that none of these things have any value, okay? And if you're the last one holding the bag, you're not going to have a very fun time trading these things. And this has been proven evidently by what happened with the Libra token and obviously a lot of other examples. The problem in the space will continue to be people and not technology, and I don't think that that'll change anytime soon. But collectively, as a space, we all need to learn from this and wake up. But all right, guys, that is going to wrap the video for today, simply because the more that I look into this, the more it makes me angry and disgusted with the space. And to be honest, we don't need to spend our time looking at all the negatives in the space. I really think that it's better to spend your time on the positives in the space and the innovation that is actually happening in real time. And guys, if you are new to the space, please don't let this be your sign to give up on it, because again, this is not a problem of the technology. This is a problem of human nature, okay? And greed is going to make people do really bad things in most situations. So just keep that in mind as you continue your journey in the Web3 markets. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.